Hello all. We started our journey into the translation of Sirupaanaatrupadai and we were given a lot of descriptions by the poet. He compared the hero of the poem, King Nalliyakodan, with the kings of the Chera dynasty, Cholas and Pandyas, and claimed that Nalliyakodan was the best. And he also started giving short descriptions of 7 magnanimous kings whose names are etched in the history of Sangam literature. And we have seen a few of them. We have 4 more on our list. We shall move ahead with the poem. I Andiran. நிழல்திகள் நீலநாகம் நல்கிய கலிங்கம் ஆலமர் செல்வதற்கு அமர்ந்தன்ன கொடுத்த சாவம் தாங்கிய சாந்து புலர்த்தினி தோள் ஆர்வ நான் மொழி ஆயும். Andiran, dazzling bright sapphires from slithering serpent, its skin, the three-eyed resting under the great banyan gifted, bow, borne by sturdy sandal pastel shoulders, and the bearer of compassionate words, I as well. Andiran was the ruler of a kingdom called Ayakudi. He was known for an extreme generous act. There was a belief that a very rare snake, which was sapphire blue in color, shed its skin only once in its entire lifetime. And the person who possessed the skin of the blue snake would be gifted with everlasting riches. Such a skin came to the hands of a sage who was meditating on the Podigai hills, which was the hill by the town of Ayakudi. Now, this sage had no purpose for the snake's skin, and so he was wondering to whom he can hand over it. One fine day, Andiran came by the forest and he was searching for his hunt. The sage who found him thought that he was the perfect person to possess the snake's skin because with everlasting riches, the already generous king would have lot more to give people. And so he handed over the snake's skin to Andiran. Now Andiran was totally puzzled. He wondered how he could make use of the snake's skin. He did not want the snake's skin to be under his possession for a long time. He was searching for the right person who can carry it forward. And at the time, he came across a Shivalingam, the idol of Lord Shiva, under a banyan tree. Without giving a second thought, Andiran gave the snake skin to Lord Shiva. He claimed that Lord Shiva, who was the protector of the entire world, deserved the skin more than he did. Such was his spontaneity. But once again, our poet says that even this selflessness of Andiran is nothing when compared to Nalliyakodan's selflessness. We have another magnanimous king in line. Who is he? We shall continue with the poem. Adigan. மால்வரை கமழ் பூஞ் சாரல் கவினிய நெல்லி அமிழ்து விளை தீம்கனி ஒவ்வைக்கு ஈந்த உறவசினம் கனலும் ஒளித்திகழ் நெடுவேல் அரவக்கடல் தானை அதிகனும். Of towering peaks with fragrant slopes that yielded special berry, so succulent and sweet gifted to Avayar, he with his blazingly robust and sharp spear, head of an ocean of army, Adigan too. Adigan, or Adiyaman as he is popularly known, is known for his magnanimous act of handing over a very special gooseberry to Saint Avayar. Adiyaman belonged to the Velir dynasty and his kingdom was called the Kongunadu, which had parts of Tamil Nadu and Kerala of present day. The capital city was Tagadur and it had a small hillock. The hillock had a very special gooseberry tree which did not yield any fruit for a very long time. The locals knew that the gooseberry tree gave just one berry in its entire lifetime and it had special healing powers. It was fit enough to extend the lifespan of any human being. And one day, a farmer who passed by the tree noticed that a gooseberry had grown. He immediately plucked the fruit off the tree and handed it over to his king, his beloved king, Oimaan. Oimaan, who was extremely generous, was once visited by Saint Avayar. He thought that more than him, she deserved to have the gooseberry because she was rendering a great service to Tamil and literature. And hence he gave the succulent gooseberry to Saint Avayar. Our poet says that even this generous act is little less when compared to the generous acts of Nalliyakodan. We have yet another Samaritan waiting in line, and his name is Nalli. கரவாது நட்டோரு அப்ப நடை பரிகாரம் முட்டாது கொடுத்த முனை விளங்க தடக்கை துளிமழை பொழியும் வழித்துஞ்சு நெடுங்கோட்டு நளிமலை நாடன் நள்ளியும். Unforgetful of the needs of friends and their necessities, gifted with no limits of his giving hands, from constantly showering breezy peaks of hills of Nalli, home to Nalli, neither. King Nalli ruled over a hilly region named Kandiram. Kandiram is also called as Toti Hills, which is the present day's Dodabetta of the Nilgiri Hills. He was a chieftain and he ruled over his kingdom very effectively. Once, a group of poets happened to pass by the forest. There, feeling very tired, they rested under a tree and were waiting for some kind of help. They happened to meet a very young man, looking very charming and very brave, passing by their way. The young man inquired about them, and when he came to know that they had travelled from far away, without even asking them, he started cooking up a fire. He had pieces of meat with him, looked like he had hunted down a deer. So he started cooking the meat. He served them with a lot of love. He brought fresh water from a nearby spring and served it as well. After having their fill, the head of the poets group asked who he was. But for that, the young man simply smiled and left the place. Later on, the poet came to know that he was none other than Nalli himself. Yet another good thing about Nalli and his family is being explained by the poet. Not only Nalli and the men folks of his family, but his women folks were equally down to earth and generous. Another anecdote states that when a group of poets seeking patronage with Nalli arrived, Nalli was absent. But two women generously invited them in, served them with hot piping food, very tasty variety of food items, and gave them a lot of gifts when they were about to leave. Later on, they learned that they were none other than the wives of Nalli and his brother. So the women folks were equally generous. Now here, our poet steps in and says that we need not get lost with the generosity of Nalli and his family, because Nalliyakodan's family was one step ahead of these people. So we have one more Samaritan waiting for us to be sung. Who is he? He is Ori. நளிசினை நரும்போது கங்கிலிய நாகு முதிர் நாகத்து குறும்பொறை நல்நாடு கோடியர்க்கு இந்த காரி குதிரை காரியோடு மலைந்த ஓரி குதிரை ஓரியும் என ஆங்கு 7 சமம் கடந்த 7 உரல் திணித்தோள். Ori, cluttered branches bearing fragrant flowers of the young and old sorangi trees, the gifted lands from small peaks and smart plains for artisans. Kari, the horse, one from the namesake that fought with Ori, the horse of Ori, where the 7 fought and won them with sturdy shoulders. The Ori belonged to a fighter clan and he was the chief of his clan. He was an adversary of Kari, whom we have already seen about. He fought valiantly. He brought a lot of riches from the king on whose side he fought. He made sure that the side on which he and his troops were always victorious, and he never kept anything for himself. So once again, we have a very selfless person who's being compared to Nalliyakodan. So summing up, the 7 Samaritans, the poet says, were nothing at all when compared to Nalliyakodan. He was in fact all 7 Samaritans put together incarnate. Nalliyakodan was the best after the period of the 7 Samaritans. So, how special is he? What makes Nalliyakodan so special? We have to wait until the next part. Thank you.